Hello everybody, it's your girl, Pony, and today we are going to be discussing issue 7 of Monster High New Scaremester. This issue is the finale of the New Scaremester series, but not the final Monster High comic we will be getting, but I'll get into that after the issue. Additionally, this video is going to be more like a podcast than my usual ones, with very minimal visual editing. Quite frankly, I do not have the energy to edit a whole video right now, and most people probably listen to these while doing other things anyway, which is completely fine, by the way. That's how I tend to watch YouTube as well. With all of that being said, let's talk about the final nail in this coffin. We open with Claudine and Torlai at the coffin beam. The two are having a heart to howl. At first, Torlai is upset about their breakup, but Claudine explains why she pushed her away and apologizes. We're given a little glimpse into how these two got together after being forced to room together at math camp.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
And an editor's note saying that this will be delved into further in this year's Pride issue. The two ghouls end up being on good terms, but Torlai is concerned when Claudine leads into her plan to save Frankie. I'm glad to see that they're back together, and I'm excited to read the next issue, which will answer some of the questions people had about their relationship. It was a tad disappointing for them to introduce them as a couple last year, only to immediately break them up, so I hope that they have a more stable relationship going forward. I think that the reasons for Claudine's hesitation make sense story-wise, but the timing of it all was jarring. Later that night, Claudine meets up with Cleo and Draculaura to confront Dr. Stein about what's been going on. The man is lurking in Bloodgood's office, lamenting his unlife choices. We're shown a memory from months ago when he and Nora were discussing one of his new inventions. The woman is skeptical of it, but Stein insists that with this device, they'll be able to enhance zombie biology, noting that they'll be faster and stronger and able to communicate beyond moans and groans, like Frankie. Nora changes the subject, saying that there have been some monsters advocating for the return of the monster claws. Dr. Stein states that the claws are a step backward, and Nora agrees, but notes that these voices are getting louder and louder, and that with the recent attack, she can't let the school be lost. Dr. Stein asks her to give him some time to create something that could fix things, but Nora fears that the problem may be bigger than they can fix. This flashback is interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Dr. Stein's desire to fix the zombies felt very... I'm not sure how to word this that isn't gonna make it sound strange, but it felt very elitist to me. The way he words it, especially with the emphasis on how they can be like Frankie, feels like he doesn't consider the zombies good enough as they are. I'm not sure if this was an intentional choice to show the doctor's flaws, or if it was just an accident, but I know I'm not the only one who had this reaction. It's not a bad thing in itself, I'm just wondering if it was how we were meant to read this. I will discuss the situation with Nora later. The ghouls find Stein in the office and immediately let him know that they're aware he hasn't been honest. He spills all the details. How he was blackmailed, how the villains took his notes and threatened his daughter, how they've been taking the missing monsters to an underground lab that used to be his. He was gonna go investigate alone, but now that the ghouls are here, they all team up to get to the bottom of things. Two important details here are that Dr. Stein has no idea who the villains truly are, and that he hasn't heard from Hex or Nora in months. They stumble upon the laboratory as Dr. Stein explains his fear that his research is being used to create the villain's own reanimated monsters. He gets everybody into the lab. Meanwhile, Torlai's at home, concerned about how Claudine's geo-tracker shows her in the middle of no scare. The ghouls find Frankie and the hooded figure in the lab. Frankie is being experimented on, just like the zombies before her. The villain intends to reverse engineer her mind, threatening to short-circuit the ghoul if Stein gets any closer. Draculaura turns into a bat to attack the villain, and Claudine aims for the control panel. Cleo is able to unmask our antagonist, who turns out to be Lothar? So I will put a little visual aid here, because if you're sitting here thinking, who the hell is Lothar? It's this guy from the episode Fierce Crush, the one who had an unrequited crush on Halloween. And I'll say that while this reveal was funny, it was a bit disappointing, to me at least. We did get the tiniest bit of foreshadowing back in issue 3, when Lothar dissuades the Student Body Council from investigating the disappearances, but even with that, it seems so out of left field. Firstly, Lothar was on stilts to appear so tall, which means that visually we had no indication that he could even be a suspect. And secondly, in his only non-comic appearance, Lothar is just some guy. He's not even mean or a bully. He seems pretty sweet. So his sudden turn to full-on kidnapping and torturing people is kind of bizarre. Now, I'm sure we'll get a bit more explanation later on, but I'm sure you can see why this reveal wasn't the most satisfying to me. The only thing I can think of at the moment is that they've made him into one of those guys who spirals into being a terrible person after being rejected. Regardless, Lothar was only one of the captors, and the second remains to be seen. I think that who this second person ends up being will be pretty important, as given the first reveal, this could either make everything fall into place, or could just lead to more confusion. Whoever it is, it must be someone with a ton of power, because Lothar could not have pulled this stuff off unless he was being used as a pawn by a much more solid villain. And what have those villains accomplished? Well, they've brainwashed their horde of zombies to make them into their own personal army. Said army goes to attack our ghouls, who are unable to hurt them since it's made up of other students. Draculaura flies off to go find backup, and Frankie starts harnessing her electricity in order to disrupt the mind control device's signal. Ghoulia goes to attack the simulacrum, but her father jumps in front of her and is promptly stabbed straight through the chest. Which I will admit is much more violent than I was expecting for this series, and I give them props for committing to it. Dr. Stein is injured and apologizes to Frankie, who is, of course, freaking out. Meanwhile, Cleo tries to get through to Ghoulia, but is unable. She resorts to using her ear-piercing scream to break the tech, releasing all of the zombies. Lothar is pissed. Everyone else is understandably upset due to the circumstances, and Draculaura stumbles in with Bloodgood, who looks like she has not been sleeping. Our headmistress grumbles about the fact that everyone really believed that she would just abandon the school and go on vacation, which, yeah, no, that was my thoughts too. She asks Lothar what on earth is happening here, and he says that it's the start of a Boo World Order before going into this tirade about how monsters are going to be at the top of the social pyramid and the zombies will be controlled in order to conquer monster and normie society. He notes that Dr. Stein, Mr. Steam, and Bloodgood contributed to this agenda, to which Bloodgood says she had nothing to do with it. But according to Lothar, the claws are just the first phase, and it's revealed that our villains forged signatures onto a petition to reinstate them, and apparently Bloodgood gave in? I'm gonna be honest, I find this really strange. Firstly, given that confrontation between Nora and the villains in our first issue, I was under the impression that she had refused their demands to reinstate the claws, and this was my understanding for the entirety of the series up until now. That decision, I felt, was very in character for her, given her dedication to inclusion and the fact that she historically has constantly fought for that, including having a normie exchange program the year that Monster High opened. So suddenly having it be revealed that no, she actually did agree to ban human and monster interactions is really jarring. They still try to make her choice sympathetic, emphasizing that she thought she was helping and listening to her community, but it does raise the question of what exactly she was disagreeing with in that first issue. And it also makes her quite a hypocrite, given that her love interest is half human. Actually, the fact that half-humans exist in Monster Society is unaddressed throughout the entire series, which was probably done for time, but it does cause some questions of the idea of the clause being enforced. We see that Jackson is still going to school, implying that he's getting away on the technicality that he's half-monster, but would one of his parents be disallowed from ever visiting? Would that family setup be condemned? Overall, I think that this issue has left me even more confused than prior to reading it. I had a feeling there would be some loose ends, but I'm not totally sure how I feel about this as a finale to this series. I do want to throw in here that I 100% believe that some of this is a result of the series getting cut short, a bit of speculation that has basically been confirmed by at least one member of the team. I completely sympathize with being rushed and having to change plans, and I do understand that many of these things will probably be tackled in later issues. Anyway, that was a whole ramble, so let's wrap up. Just like how Lothar is wrapped up in order to capture him. Frankie's dad is pulled away on a gurney, and Bloodgood urges everyone to get to safety. Cleo apologizes to Ghoulia for neglecting her. Claudine offers that Frankie can stay in her place while her dad's in recovery, and everyone remembers that, hey, wasn't there actually another villain? But before they can get too far into that, Toralei barges in with Abby, Laguna, Scara, Iris, and Deuce. Claudine asks how Toralei found them, only to realize she forgot to stop sharing her location. The new ghouls are given a recap, and Deuce asks if they still need to be worried about that whole Brew World Order thing, but Cleo says that they'll tackle one problem at a time. Draculaura scoops up what I'm pretty sure is Dr. Stein's notebook. Cryptcrier is back, and that's where this issue ends. And my ghoulness, a lot happened. As always, let's get into some of the little details I noticed. Our opening panel has this cute shot of Keith and Abby and Valentine and Spelden. Aw, how sweet. Claude is playing with a monster version of Weird Barbie here. Dr. Stein has a #1 dad mug while having his breakdown, and Frankie is missing, which is just a really great angsty detail. More Bloodgood and Hezekiah propaganda. I choose to believe that they are couple posing here. Toralei's wall has a signed picture of the Vampire Majesty actor from Fright's Camera Action, which is very funny to me. More Bloodhex propaganda. Abby is the one who carries Dr. Stein out of the lab, which makes sense because she is most definitely the strongest person here. Dr. Stein mentioning this old abandoned lab that used to be his is either a really nice coincidence or a really deep cut to one of the old Gory Gazette articles about his lab in the catacombs. And I think that's about everything. Overall, I did enjoy this issue, although I know that a lot of this video probably sounds like complaining, but it's more just me working through my thoughts. I don't know if it was the best way for the series to wrap up, but I didn't really ever think we were gonna get the ideal ending for a couple of reasons. One of which is the aforementioned cut to the number of issues, and the other one is the fact that at the end of this issue, a new ongoing series is announced. So so it was never meant to be the end. It's just the end of New Scaremester. The new series is going to kick off in August, and in the meantime we will be getting even more comics. As of recording, the new Pride issue will be releasing in like 2 days, and 2 limited run series were announced. World Scare will be a 5-issue follow-up to the new Scaremester series, also written by Jackie I, and House Haunters will be a 5-issue series written by Ben Kahn, who did the Holiday Haunt issue. It is said to take inspiration from 80s horror and will be releasing bi-weekly September through October. These, plus the republications of I Only Have Eye for You, mean that in September we should be having 4 Monster High comic series running at the same time. Damn. It's also worth noting, and spoilers for some of the upcoming issues, so if you don't want to know, close your ears for a second. According to the description for World Scare, Dr. Stein is legit dead. All of that established, I do not think I will be able to continue doing individual videos for all of the new issues. You can probably tell that it's already been difficult to keep up with New Scaremester and the holiday issues. I still plan on doing a video for the new Pride issue, but I haven't decided how or if I am planning on dealing with the rest. I'm considering maybe doing a monthly roundup video rather than individual comics, but I'm not promising anything yet. And you didn't think I'd forget about the Fang Mail, did you? In this issue, we highlight this killer black and white Frankie cosplay by Avendaria. They entered a cosplay contest as a beginner, but ended up getting sorted into a higher category and winning Best Masters at their first competition. How voltageous! Both them and their ghoul friends look fantastic. What a great boo crew. And with that, I think I'm done here. Thanks so much for watching and putting up with my posting inconsistency. As always, my link tree will be in the description. Please feel free to check it out if you're looking to help some people and places who could really use it. And without further ado, I will see you all next time. Stay spooky, everybody.